Standing in a conference room at a Fortune 100 company. My client is about to change her financial life, but she didn't even realize it. And a year earlier, before we worked together, she would have called in sick to dodge this exact moment. But she didn't call in sick. She spoke, she presented, and that one speech, she earned an extra six figures a year since then. That is $100,000 that she has been able to earn yearly extra. How would you like to do that? Hey, welcome back to Be in Demand. I am your host, Laurie-Ann Mirabito, and I first want to do a thank you. Thank you to all the organizations and companies that have been bringing me in to speak to their people. And I also want to do a big thank you to all of my private clients who are investing in themselves because they know presenting and speaking is how they're going to get selected for that next big opportunity. Using your voice, storytelling, and being that person in the front of the room is how you get known, build your personal brand, and just like my client, earn more. So back to this one client who spoke for this Fortune 100 company. She was nervous and she was also terrified of speaking before we started working together. And she was the kind of person who would happily do twice the work if it meant she never had to stand up and be looked at. And long before this Fortune 100 company ever showed up, she had been putting in the reps with her own voice, paying the rent when nobody was watching. She had been doing the work on her confidence when she was speaking, to work on her nerves, to really learn storytelling and crafting a presentation so that when she had this opportunity, she was ready for it. And the thing that almost all of my clients that I work with tell me, by the time that they walk into their first big presentation, the one that actually counts, they actually feel like they have 5 years of experience behind them. That is what the reps buy you. And honestly, hearing that never gets old. It makes me like the proud mama bear. So listen, this is what I get to do all day. I help people find their voice, get noticed, get promoted, and get the raise. So if you're sitting there wanting some version of what my client has, I want to encourage you to go book a call with me. I'll walk you through the different ways that we can work together. The link is down below in the show notes. Okay, now let me tell you why I'm bringing all of this up. A while back, I told you that success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due today. And if you missed that one, go back and listen to episode 425. It was just a couple of weeks ago. But you don't need to have listened to that in order to listen to this episode. So today I want to talk about what happens when you don't pay the rent. Falling behind is not neutral. It's not like you're hitting a pause button. When you stop paying the rent doesn't politely disappear. It actually turns into debt, and that debt charges you interest. Think about your credit card. You buy something that you can't quite afford. I know that I've done this a number of times. And you tell yourself you'll pay the minimum for a little while until maybe you get your bonus check or you get an influx of some money. So you pay a little and you keep swiping at the same time. And then you pay a little bit more. And then at some point down the road, you look up and you have paid back every dollar that you borrowed, plus a small fortune in interest. Think about your mortgage, same thing. It's like in the beginning of a mortgage, you are paying more interest and a little bit on the house. The thing you bought so long ago, it's gone, but you're still paying for it. That's what debt is. So your voice works exactly the same way. Every room that you stay quiet in is something you borrowed against your own future. And I want to remind you that every month that you wait to fix it, that interest is piling up. And I know this for myself because I did it. Years ago, I had this idea of having this podcast. I mean, I'm a speaker. I teach people how to use their voice for a living. A podcast was the most obvious move in my marketing. And I had the idea, and then I sat on it, and I sat on it, and I dragged my feet for another full year, a year, 12 months, 365 days. I kept finding reason after reason why it wasn't the right time. Then one day it just finally hit me. Laurie-Ann, you're a speaker. You teach people how to use their voice. Why on earth don't you have a podcast? 6 weeks later, it was live with 4 episodes already recorded and ready to go. And if you want to listen to those 4 episodes, go back to episode 1 through 4. They weren't great either. Like if I go back and listen to them, I'm just like, ooh, I've come so far. But it only took me 6 weeks to actually get it out there. After a year of telling myself that it was hard, I needed to overanalyze, I needed to make sure it was perfect. Hey, I do this too. I'm human. We are all here learning our lessons. So, what did that year of waiting actually cost me? I lost a year that I am never going to get back. This show is about to turn 6 years old this August. Had I started when I first had the idea, I'd actually be celebrating 7 years. That's a whole extra year of downloads. That's 52 other episodes that I probably could have had. A whole extra year of people who might have found this podcast and been exactly what they needed. But I didn't put it out there. So I cannot buy that year back anymore at any price. I paid the interest, and the interest was very steep. So this is true everywhere. And it's not just with careers and podcasts. This is true everywhere that matters. Your kids, your marriage, your friendships. You go quiet, you assume that they'll just be fine without your attention. And then one day you realize the distance is real. And closing it is going to take time and effort. And yes, that's interest. I learned that one when I was a young woman. When my parents got divorced, I was furious with my father. I actually took it very personal that he had left us. And I picked a side. I picked my mom's side. And I dug my heels right in. I didn't want to talk to dad. I didn't want to see him. As far as I was concerned, the relationship was over. And it was his fault. And yes, I was a little bit dramatic, just like that. And then one day, and I honestly don't even remember exactly what shifted in me. I decided I didn't want to lose my dad. So I did something that was neither easy nor convenient. I had an honest conversation with him. And then I started to show up. And I just want to kudos to my dad for being there, for waiting until I came back around. Now, my father was working for Raytheon at the time, and he would drive between different locations all week. So the only window that we really had, because of where his apartment was and the 2 different plants that he had to go to, was a Friday lunch date at his apartment. And his apartment was not close by. It was about a 35-minute drive for me each way to have lunch with him. And these were not long lunches either. He was squeezed for time, and I was just making the time okay, I'll be there for you, Dad. So it was literally a quick microwaved fish sandwich on rye bread with 1 slice of cheese and a little bit of tartar sauce. We ate it fast, and then we both had to run. So we would eat lunch, we would connect, we would talk, but it was still very brief. But I still remember exactly what that lunch was because we had it every single week. That was a payment, a 35-minute drive one way for a quick sandwich and then 35 minutes back home. But I kept making that drive week after week. And those rushed little Friday lunches, they turned into something else. They turned into a very beautiful relationship between me and my dad. And then later on, we started biking together. And the conversations got longer because the distance between us got smaller and smaller. And here we are. I mean, it's been almost 40 years since my parents divorced. And we have this beautiful relationship that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. And that's because I paid the rent. I paid the debt because success is never owned. A good relationship with your father is never owed. to you. It's rented, and the rent is due every single day. Now, back to the credit card analogy. The credit card is what happens when you ignore something and you let the interest compound against you. My dad and those fish sandwiches are the exact opposite. That is compounding. That is working for you. One small, slight, inconvenient payment a week. And give it enough time, it builds into something that I get to keep for the rest of my life. It's exactly the same math. It's just in a different direction. One is costing you a lot, and one is giving you a lot, all because you're doing the reps. And this is your choice. You are compounding something every single day. The only question is, which way is it running? Positive or negative? And the positive being building something that you want, that you're going to have for a lifetime, or something that's costing you, that is just building up bigger and bigger debt. So there is some good news, and it's genuinely good news. You don't have to pay back the rent in one big giant lump sum. I mean, you can, like on a actual credit card, but that doesn't work with what we're talking about here. You don't have to go from being silent in every meeting to being a keynote speaker by this Friday. You get to pay down the same debt that you fell behind in, a little bit at a time. And the payment opportunities are everywhere. You're surrounded by them. You just keep walking past them. Here's what I mean. You have a conversation in the hallway. That's a payment. You pick up the phone to catch up with a colleague on a project or make a request. That's a payment. You have lunch with somebody and you actually walk through some sort of project that you're working on together. That's a payment. Asking one question out loud in that next meeting that you go to in front of other people, that's a payment. Speaking up first in your department meeting instead of waiting to hear what everyone else thinks, that's a big payment. Raising your hand to present at that next industry event instead of sitting safely in the audience, that's a that's a big payment. And you are putting that towards balance. None of those take much. This is how you keep paying that rent in small, repeated payments that you were in a position to make the entire time. You're just finally saying yes to you, yes to having that success that you want, and understanding that you have to put in, you have to pay the rent each and every day, each and every time you have that opportunity. And here's who you become when you actually do this. You stop being the person who stands up and recites a list of facts and figures that the room forgets by the time that they reach the elevator. You become the one who tells the story, who makes people feel something, who taps into why the work actually matters. You become the person who paints that vision that your company is reaching for so that people can see it. They want it. They can taste it. They can feel it. And they follow you towards it. That person gets respected. That person gets remembered. That person gets that moment when it shows up. And the raise that comes afterwards. So let me leave you where I started. My client gave that presentation years ago. It's behind her now. And she's still getting paid for it. That is what happens when you pay the rent before the moment arrives instead of scrambling after it. Your moment is still out in front of you. And the back rent only gets more expensive the longer that you sit on it. The fastest way to pay off that rent is to not do it alone, but let somebody help you build it, help you see your own blind spots and keep you focused. This is exactly what I do with my clients. So I want to encourage you to book an executive presence audit. We will find out where you've fallen behind, what it's quietly costing you, and the fastest way to get to that balance so that you start paying the rent every single day. That link is right down below in the show notes. The rent is due today, and the payment you make today is the one that lowers everything that you owe tomorrow. And until next week, I want you to be in demand. Hey, you've been listening and nodding along thinking, I'll start speaking when I feel more ready. But here's the truth: clarity and confidence, they come from doing. That's why I created In Demand, my monthly membership for people just like you who are ready to grow their business with speaking. Even if you're not sure what to do, where to find opportunities, or what to say once you get that opportunity, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. And we'll make sure that you don't do it alone. Doors are open now, and our next live call is coming up. So if this has been tugging at you, consider this your sign. You can join us at speakandstandout.com/IND for In Demand, and that link is down below. Your audience is waiting, and I promise the moment that you step up, the right people will start paying attention to you.